Over the decades, Imtiaz Ali's films have inspired, motivated, and helped the youth to overcome their everyday challenges. Through his films, he tries to convey to the larger audience about the mental trauma and dilemma of his protagonist. In his 2014 directorial venture, Highway, starring Alia Bhatt and Randeep Hooda, he showcases the emotional journey of its leading pair. Veera, a girl from an affluent family, gets kidnapped by a local goon, Mahabir, just before her wedding to Vinay. This forms the storyline of Highway. The movie talks about various socio-political themes including class differences, sexism, and physical assault. Despite having roots in its politics, the film also sheds light on the psychological nature of mankind, the childhood traumas, and how they discover their identity through love and freedom. Carl Gustav Jung, a Swiss psychologist, coined the term inner child. Through this concept, he explains that each individual has a child within them who influences their decision making. In any case, if the child experiences any kind of neglect or injury or abuse, then the child would carry within them what other psychologists describe as wounded inner child. As an adult, the wounded inner child would drive the moods of the individual, and they may experience discomfort and aggression extensively. In this film, Highway, both the leading characters, Veera and Mahabir, despite coming from completely different backgrounds, were physically and emotionally exploited. One night, randomly, she bursts out to Mahabir about how her uncle used to molest her from a young age, and instead of legally charging him, her family had asked her to keep quiet and not discuss it further with anyone. On the other hand, as a child, Mahabir too experienced his father's wrath. He grew up seeing his father indulging in infidelity or forcing Mahabir's mother to sleep with the other men for some money. As a child, their needs were refused and they both were neglected, which resulted in Mahabir turning into a goon and Veera into a confused adult who could not make her life choices on her own. In the ending scene of the film, we see what we can call the healed inner child. Let's take a look at the scene and understand its visual grammar. The left belongings of Mahabir. The shallow focus draws our attention to the items. Veera walks in. The focus doesn't shift to her, which states that she is coming into their world. The sequence cuts to a wide shot. Her position is shot from a cowboy angle. This scene is shot in a deep focus. The next sequence cuts to a mid shot, which is shot using a shallow focus. In the background, we see two empty chairs. This indicates that she feels lonely without Mahabir. Again, the camera cuts to a dream sequence where she is imagining her childhood self and young Mahabir playing together. Notice how the background in the sequence is blurred and the focus is on the two kids, followed by a close up shot. Observe how in the background one chair is covered by her face. She expresses ecstasy through her facial expressions. The close up is cut by a full shot in which we see the kids enjoying nature. We see adult Veera in the middle shot in a shallow focus. We see the empty chairs again, and we all get to learn about the book she is currently reading, Women Who Run with the Wolves. Interestingly, the stories printed in the book are a collection of fellow travelers and their healing whom the author met during her travels. This is an important sequence as it shows the audience about the care and concern of both the characters towards each other. Veera is learning to be okay with Mahabir's absence because she applauds his contribution to her life. The final sequence is shot using a deep focus where we see both the necessary elements of the film, mountains and the leading pair. Veera and Mahabir preferred mountains. At last, Veera visualizes a happy childhood of them together in the mountains. The ending sequence where Veera looks up at the sky. She is trying to make peace with Mahabir's absence by imagining that they both are at a better place in their lives. She does miss him, which is why her head tilts and doesn't cover the chair in the background fully. The Highway is not a popcorn film. It seeks your attention, and every time one watches this movie by Imtiaz Ali, they would take an important note on life. That's the beauty of his cinema.